Remember also at the dispensation of the law at Mount Sinai, when God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, there was lightning and thunder because the law itself is judgment. The law doesn't save. The law has no power to save. All it does is convict men of their sins and gives them the realization of their need for a Savior. Exodus 19:6 describes the giving of the law on Mount Sinai. It says, "And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled." So we have thunder, lightning, trumpets. This is speaking of judgment. The law itself was a judgment upon humanity. It wasn't a good thing, in that sense. It was good to order society and culture, and we could base our laws around it. But the law was a curse upon man, in essence. It was a part of the, man sinning, and so God had to restrain us from ourselves. And so the law was given so that men would be convicted of their sins and realize their need for God's grace. Okay, Romans 3, 19 through 20 says, "Now we know that what things soever the law saith, it saith to them who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before God." So Paul describes the purpose of the law right there. He says it's outright. It's so that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before God. Therefore, by the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight, for by the law is the knowledge of sin. So that's literally the only purpose of the law, in essence, other than to order society and create our laws around it, which we've moved away from the 10 Commandments in many ways, right? Used to be illegal to be a homosexual in the, biblical times. Why? Or even in early America, it was illegal. Thomas Jefferson wanted homosexuals castrated. This was the man who wrote the Bill of Rights, but he didn't think that they had that right to be a homosexual because it was against nature. It's against the law of God. It's an abomination. It's not normal. It's not natural. And so all that the law does is reveal our sinfulness. It shows us that we all come short of the glory of God. Galatians 3:24 through 25, "Wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Christ, that we might be justified by faith. But after that faith has come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster." Look what Paul does there. He first calls the law a schoolmaster. It's to teach us what sin is. Then he says, once Christ has come, once grace is here, and that atoning blood is available to you, then we are no longer under a schoolmaster. We are no longer under the law. So literally under the terms of the new covenant, that's why it's a new covenant that we're in. We're not under the old. We're not under the terms of the law. Elsewhere, Paul says that it's been nullified, that the law has been nullified, which means to be made void. And so while God's moral values and laws remain in effect because it stems from his own nature, the law may be abolished, but righteousness is still righteousness. Stealing is still wrong. Murder is still wrong because those things emanate from God's nature itself, himself. And so we're no longer under the law, but under grace. John 1:17, "For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ." And so, we're purely under grace. Salvation is either the substitution and the blood sacrifice of Jesus, or you have to try to keep the entirety of the law. That's the choice that you have to make. What's it going to be, works or grace? There's no in between, as Paul says in Romans 11:6 and elsewhere.